Hello and welcome to this lesson. In today's lesson, we want to talk about density. Density, this is defined as the mass per unit volume. Mass per unit volume. What does this mean? What it means is the mass of one unit volume of a substance. And a unit volume of a substance means 1 meter cube of it. 1 meter cube of the substance. We talked about measurements in our last lesson, and we gave the units of different measurements. We said that we measure length in meters, and we measure volume in meter cubed. Now, what density is telling us is that when we get a substance, let me say that you have a chunk of wood. This is a chunk of wood. Now, when we cut it and get just one, let's assume that this is 1 meter cube of it. The volume is 1 meter cube of this chunk of wood. Then we take this 1 meter cube of the substance, we take it to an instrument that we use to determine the mass, to measure the mass. Whatever the mass gives us becomes the density of the substance. When we cut 1 meter cube as a volume of a substance and measure the mass of it, whatever it gives us is the density of the substance. So that is the meaning of density. So that's why we define it as the mass per unit volume. A unit volume means one of the units of volume. That is 1 meter cube. So we have the formula of density as density D. Density D is equal to mass over volume. So we write density as density, which we represent with D, is equal to mass over volume. This M is mass, and this V is volume, mass over volume. So this is the formula for density, mass over volume. Now, since we know that mass is measured in kilogram, when we talked about measurements, mass is measured in kilogram and volume is measured in meter cube. Therefore, this is the unit of density, kilogram per meter cube. You can also write this thing as kg m. You put minus 3, then you will remove this division sign. You can write it this way or this. So any of these is allowed. So this is it about the unit of density. So with this, if you are given the mass of an object and the volume of the object, you can calculate the density of the substance. For instance, example 1. If you are told that the mass of an object is 10 kilogram, mass is 10 kilogram, and the volume of the object is 2 meter cube, equal to 10 kilogram, and the volume is 2 meter cube, and we are asked to calculate the density of this substance. How can we do that? We say that density D is equal to m over v, where D equal to density and m equal to mass and v is equal to volume. That is, now mass is 10 and volume is 2, which is now 10 over 2. 10 over 2 is 5. So the density of the substance is 5. Now we put the unit of density, which is kilogram per meter cube. So this is the answer. 5 kilogram per meter cube. Now what this thing is telling us is that if we measure 1 meter cube of the substance and we weigh it, it is going to give us 5 kilogram. That is, the mass of it is going to be 5 kilogram. Now let's look at another example. Example 2. If we are given that the mass of an object is 20 kilogram, and that the volume of the object is 5 meter cube, that we should calculate the density. Now volume, we are to calculate the density. Now we say again that density is equal to mass over volume. Density is equal to m over v. M is equal to 20 and volume is equal to 5. So we have 20 over 5, and it will give us 4. Now the unit of density is kilogram per meter cube. So this is the answer, 4 kilogram per meter cube. So you've seen how we calculate density of substances, and you've also learned about the definition or the meaning of density, the formula, and the unit of density.